Okay guys, this is concept 60. Now, this one doesn't have a space to write it in, so just write it up top here. What we're doing here is we're applying the skills or concepts we've learned in the previous three to just applications of shapes, finding areas, or lengths or widths and so on of particular shapes. So there's nothing new, it's just really understanding what it is. And what you have to know, you might need to pause and Google some or refresh yourself, is just the area formulas or volume formulas of some of these figures we'll be looking at. For the first one, it says find an expression to represent the area of the rectangle. So the area of a rectangle, if you don't remember, is length times width. That's the easy one. Okay, so here's my rectangle, here's my length, here's my width. So it says find the area. We're just going to multiply these two rational expressions here. So I have 2x x squared minus 12x plus 27 times x squared minus 81 over 4x to the third plus 36x squared. Remember, the first thing you might want to do is see what you can factor so you can simplify and work with an easier expression. So the first one here, I have 2x on top. For the denominator, x squared minus 12x plus 27, I'm going to want to factor this out, and I get x minus 3 minus 9x minus 3. Okay. For the second one, the numerator is a difference of squares. So I have x and x plus minus 9. And then the denominator, here I can factor out, it looks like I can factor out 4x squared. And when I do that, I get x plus 9. And then from here, I'm going to cancel out any like terms, so these cancel here. X minus 9 cancels there. And I think, well, the 2 and the 4, so the 4 here becomes 2, 2 over 4 becomes 1/2, right? And then the x will cancel out with this one there. So I get left with just, it looks like everything on top went away, so just 1 on top on the numerator. And then the denominator is, so there's a 2, there's an x, and there's x minus 3. So 2x times x minus 3. So this is the expression that represents the area of this rectangle given the length and the width here. Number 2, it says find the expression to represent the area of this rectangle as well. Well, same thing, right? Area is equal to length times width. You're going to have x squared plus 3x minus 10 over 7x minus 14 times 3x squared minus 11x minus 20 over 25 minus x squared. So let's factor out the first ratio here. And I apologize if you could hear my siblings in the other room, they're being pretty loud. Anyway, so the numerator, I got x and x, factors of negative 10 that would add up to 3. I'm getting, let me see, positive 5 and negative 2. And then the denominator here I can factor out is 7, so I get x minus, not minus 7, minus 2. And then here I can factor out, this is one of those quadratics, right? A times c, and then fact, so I get negative 60, factors of negative 60 that are going to add up to negative 11. That's going to be negative 15 and positive 4. And then I encourage you guys to do this, right? Pause it, see if you can factor it out. But what it is you're going to get, let's see, 3x and x, 3x squared, and then you're going to want negative 5 and positive 4. Okay, again, pause it, see if you need to factor out slower, but it should hold out. And then the denominator, this is a difference of squares, so keep order, right? You don't want to change any signs by accident. Square factor of 25 is 5 and 5. plus and minus, x, and x. So from here we can now cancel x plus 5 here. 5 plus x are the exact same signs of both, right? So they are the same, so I can cancel these guys out. I also have, let's see, x minus 2 here and there, and then these guys here, it's that one property from that one concept, right? X minus 5, 5 minus x. These guys here become minus 1. So then I believe that's it. That's all I can do. So I'm going to have equals to negative 3x minus 4, right? Because this minus 1 makes this negative, over 7. That's the only thing that survived here in the denominator. So this is the expression that represents the area for this rectangle. Number 3 is a little different. It says that the area of the rectangular garden is a squared over b minus b, and the length is a over b plus 1. Find the expression that represents the width of the garden. So a is equal to length times width. In this case, I am given the area and I'm also given the length. I need to find the width. So the expression I'm working with is a over L is equal to width, right? Whoops. Is equal to width, because these two are the ones that are given. So then just plug in, right? So I have a squared over b minus b over a over b plus 1. And right, I have to merge the fractions on top here. This is really over 1, and I would have to multiply top and bottom here by b, and then for the bottom, this is also really over 1, so I would have to multiply top and bottom here by b, and I get a squared minus b squared, so a squared minus b squared over b all over a plus b, because 1 times b is just b, so a plus b over b. And then I can rewrite this as a squared minus b squared over b times b over a plus b. Next thing, this is a difference of squares, so maybe I can factor this, and I would get a plus b, a minus b, and then all over, sorry, times, okay, let's keep them as two fractions, b times b over a plus b. Let's cancel out. Those cancel out there, these cancel out there, so I get left with just a minus b. So this is the expression that represents the width of this rectangle. So that's the view. Okay, number 4. This is find an expression to represent the area of the triangle below. So remember that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. Here's my base, there's my height. Okay, so you got just this half now in front of it. So 1/2 times 9x plus 18 over 6x to the third minus 24x times x to the third plus 11x squared minus 26x over 3x. Oh boy, so now let's simplify, factor out. I get 9x plus 2. For the denominator here, I'm getting 6. I can factor out a 6x. I get x squared minus 4. But then, let me see, because I'm running out of space. I'm going to use green to show that this is a difference of squares, so it became, my green is not that strong. Let me simplify. Let's see if I can just finish this problem with this green. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad on your end. So anyway, x plus 2, x minus 2, okay, times, I can factor out an x from this numerator, so I get x squared plus 11x minus 26 over just 3x. That becomes 3x. So, but then I can make this here, I can factor this out as well. I'm going to get 13. It's 13 and 2. Positive 13, negative 2. So this guy here, actually let's rewrite it, that way I'm not confusing you guys. So 1/2 times 9x plus 2 over 6x, and then I had factored that out, right? So x plus 2, x minus 2 times, and I have 3x here, and I have x, and then these, that's the green that I circled there. This becomes x plus 13, x minus 2. Okay, this is what I can start simplifying now. I have x plus 2, x plus 2 there. This x cancels out with that x. X minus 2 cancels out there and there. And I get left with, well, I have 9 over 6 or 9 over 3. So let's cancel this guy out with this guy, and I get 3. But then I have 3 over 6. So then this guy cancels out, and then this 6 becomes 2. And I think that's it. So in the numerator, I get x plus 13 over 2x. See, I have a 2, and then this x here survived. So, oh no, yeah, well, 2 2's, right? 2 times 2 here, and this x survives, so 4x. And I believe that's it. That, yeah, looks right. That's the expression for the area of this triangle. Number 5, it says find the expression to represent the volume of the rectangular prism shown below. The volume for a rectangular prism is length times width times height. All the expressions are given here, so I'm multiplying 3 expressions together. So 5x squared minus 32x plus 12 over 10x to the third times 18x squared over 45x squared minus 18x times x squared plus 14x plus 48 over 36 minus x squared. So let's get to it. Let's get to simplifying. Okay, for this first one, it's one of those quadratics, right? Like I said, pause and see if you need to simplify at a slower pace, or familiarize with yourself with it. After enough practice, you just start seeing it, how it works out. I have a 5, it is prime, so I have 5x here, x here. I'm working on factors of 60, that would give me negative 32. But they need to multiply into positive 12, but multiply 1 by 5. I'm getting, let me see, it's going to be negative 2 and negative 6. Let's see, negative 30, yeah, negative 32. And then the bottom, there's nothing I can simplify there. The numerator here as well, but the denominator here I can factor out a 9x, so I get 5x minus 2, and then times this guy on top, it becomes x plus 6, x plus 8, and then this is a difference of squares, so 6 and 6 plus minus x. Okay, now we can go in and simplify. 5x minus 2, 5x minus 2. This is okay. Let's leave that one for last. So 9x this 9 cancels out with this 18. This 18 becomes 2 though, right? 18 over 9. X squared x, this x goes away and it leaves 1x there in the numerator, and then I have 10x squared. Let's see, oh, right here, right? 6 plus x, x plus 6, both are positive, so they're really the same expression. Those cancel out there. Now this one, I have x minus 6, 6 minus x. It's that special property, right? When I cancel out these, they become negative 1. And I think that's it. So what's left? I have x plus 8 times minus 1. So I get negative x minus 8 all over this guy who survived the denominator, 10x to the third. Oh, no. Forgot this 2, right? So times 2. Whoops. So times 2. I forgot this 2 here. So then this guy and this guy cancel and I get 5. So they don't cancel, right? Simplify. 2 over 10 becomes 1 over 5. So negative x minus 8 over 5x to the third. That's it. Next page. Another volume problem. I have the volume of a rectangular prism below is 12x plus 16. Find the height of the prism. So again, volume is length times width times height. I'm given the length and width. I need to find the height. So volume is given also by here, right? So the actual expression I'm working with is volume over length times width is equal to height. I divide by length times width, and it gives me this expression here. So the volume is 12x plus 16 over length times width, these two guys here, 9x squared minus 16 over x squared plus 2x minus 35 times 8x squared minus 40x over 3x minus 4. So alright, let's work on simplifying the denominator, the two fractions I have in my denominator first. So 12x plus 16, leave that guy alone for now. Here I can factor out I can't factor out anything, but it is a difference of squares. 9x squared minus 16, right? Square factor of 9x squared is 3x. So it becomes 3x and 3x. Square factor of negative 16 would be plus 4 minus 4. You guys can see that, plus 4 minus 4 all over x squared plus 2x minus 35. That's going to be positive 7 minus 5. So x minus 5 there. So that's this guy times, now let's simplify the second one. The denominator looks 3x minus 4 is going to stay that way, so 3x minus 4 there. And then the numerator, I can factor out an 8 and an x. So 8x, and I get x minus 5. Okay, so let's see. I guess next would be just to see what we can simplify, make this easier. So I have this x minus 5, they cancel out there. I have 3x minus 4, 3x minus 4 there, so these two will cancel out. And the 8x does not cancel out anywhere, so I'm left with 3x plus 4 times 8x, right? That's the numerator. X plus 7, and because this is all below this, maybe I can rewrite this next as that reciprocal and see where I can go from there. So I have 12x plus 16. You could write over 1, right? times, you take the reciprocal of what we were left with here, so x plus 7 on top, over 3x plus 4 times 8x. Right, those are the two that I got here. And then this first guy I can actually factor out a 4x. So when I do that, I get 4x. No, just a 4. So 4. No, I messed this up. Yeah, I did. Sorry guys. So I factor out a 4 and I get 3x plus 4. There you go. Times x plus 7 over 3x plus 4, 8x, and all this over 1. Okay. This is a weird looking parentheses. There you go. Now we can observe that these here are going to cancel, and I have also this 4 with this 8. This 8 becomes 2, and then this one here is x plus 7, so it's not a product, so I can't cancel out with this guy. So I get left with x plus 7 over 2x, and this is what we're looking for. Yeah, my height. This is the height of the volume. Next one, 7, says find an expression that represents the perimeter of the rectangle. So this one, let's see, few approaches you could take, right? The perimeter here is you have the width, the length, right, and it's a rectangle, so both sides here are equal, and then these two sides are equal. So what you could do is just, you know, take two of these and add them all up, and you have one long expression. Or you can just, right, use values here just to simplify and save some space, right? Because you know you're gonna have 2 of each, so 2 times the length plus width. So that's equal to 2 times, and then you have the sum of 2 fractions here, so x squared plus 8x over x plus 5 plus 15 over x plus 5, and then this becomes 2 times, we're adding fractions, right, so the denominator stays. The top here becomes x squared plus 8x plus 15, but then I can simplify, or sorry, factor out the numerator, right? I get x plus 5 and x plus 3 over x plus 5, and then notice that these two guys were going to cancel, so I get 2 times x plus 3. You can stop there, or 2x plus 6. That would be the perimeter of this rectangle here. Number 8, we're almost there, guys. It says find an expression to represent the perimeter of this rectangle. So same idea. You can save space by just doubling whatever the length plus width is that's given here. So you have 2 times x squared minus 4x over x squared minus 5x plus 4. Oh geez, I closed this parentheses. Plus, ignore this parentheses, plus 6 over x minus 1. So recall, right, it does look messy because this is a different denominator than this one. We have to add these fractions, but maybe I can rewrite this denominator so I can see exactly what I need to multiply this one by. So let's do that. I can rewrite this denominator as x minus 4 and x minus 1, right? That's just this this factored into this. So I have x minus 1 here, so I should multiply top and bottom by x minus 4. That will give me the same denominator. So times x minus 4 times x minus 4. I get 2 times, and let's go ahead and factor out this here. I can factor out an x, so I get x minus 4 all over x minus 4, x minus 1. Let's go ahead and combine them, because I know I'm going to get the same denominator, right? So here is 6x minus 24, so plus 6x, or maybe I should keep them separate, because I'm going to be trying to cancel out anyway, right? So let's see, 6x. You might see it, okay, and this would be like factored by grouping. If I would have distributed this out completely, so x squared minus 4x plus 6x minus 4, okay, then I would combine like terms. You're gonna get some quadratic. If you factored that quadratic and you were showing your work, look, x minus 4, x minus 4. So this would have been the factored by grouping. So I can actually just go ahead and rewrite that numerator as x plus 6 times x minus 4. And then that's over x minus 4, x minus 1. Okay, so maybe if you want to pause the video, just check your work, distribute this in, then distribute this in, and then combine like terms. You're going to get some quadratic. If you factored it, you're going to get these two guys here. Okay, so from here, I can cancel out the x minus 4, and that's it. So I'm going to get, if I distribute that 2 in, I'm going to get 2x plus 12 all over x minus 1. And then this is the expression that will represent the perimeter. For number 9, it's a trapezoid, okay, and I need the area of the trapezoid below. The area of a trapezoid, I don't know, maybe because I taught it in math too, but it's very easy to remember for me. It's just 1/2, starts kind of like a triangle. Okay, you add both bases. In other words, the average of the bases added, okay, times the height. And I'm given all three expressions here. I have both bases, right? Then I'm given the height. So it's just plugging into here and then applying our skills that we know regarding adding, multiplying, dividing fractions. So that's equal to 1/2. Add my two bases, so this guy and this guy, parentheses, x plus 3 over x plus 9 over 2x times the height, 12x over x squared minus 2x minus 35. I think this one we're going to run out of space. So 1/2 here. To get the same denominator, I have 2x here, just x here, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by 2. So I get, let's see, let's go ahead and combine those like terms. So I'm going to get 2x plus 6. So 2x plus 6 plus x plus 9. So 2x, x, those are like terms. I'm getting 3x, and then 2 times this, right? So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 9, so I'm getting 15 all over 2x times 12x, and I'm just gonna go ahead and factor out my denominator already to save some space. So I get x minus 7x plus 5. Okay, then from here I can factor out a 3. So 1/2, I factor out a 3. I got x plus 3 over 2x times 12x, x minus 7, x plus 5. And I believe that is all I can do. So let's see. Yeah, looks about right. Okay, so this x will cancel out with that x. This 2, the 12 over 2 becomes 6 right here, right? But then I have another 2 here, so 6 over 2. Now this one becomes 3. And then I have, let me see, this doesn't look right. I know something should cancel. Oh, I see my mistake. It's not x plus 3, it should be x plus 5, right? Because 3x, 3 times x, 3x times positive 3, I'm going to get positive 9. So this guy here should be 5. Okay, so then this should cancel. I guess your hint or your clue that should tip you off that you did something wrong would be when it still looks a little too complicated, right? Everything should, or most complicated things should factor out where it looks, where like your answer looks, you know, not too bad at the end. So anyway, so the x plus 5 is canceled out there, and I have just the remaining 3's, on top. I get 9, and then x minus 7 in the bottom. So 9 over x minus 7. That's going to be the expression for the area of this trapezoid. Finally, number 10, it says write the expression to represent the surface area of the rectangular prism below. So surface area, you guys remember that, right? We haven't done that in a while. So for the rectangular prism, you have 2 of each side, right? So length times width, width times height, and then height times length. And then that is, and you have 2 of each of those faces. So you can say it's 2 times length and width plus 2 times length and height plus 2 times width and height. Okay, because you have 2 of each face. So you can also factor out a 2 from this expression. Maybe we should do that just to simplify things. So you have, oh boy, I'm out of space here. So 2 length and width, length and height, plus width and height. And that's it, right? That's really all you could do. So 2 times length and width. So here's length, there's width. I'm just going to go ahead and, to save space, just multiply each thing out. So length times width, 6x times x plus 4. I'm getting 6x over 4x plus length times height. So 6 times 3, I get 18 over 2x times x, 2x squared, plus width times height. So width, height, so 3 times x, I get 3x over 2x times 4, I get 8x. That's what we have here. So let's see, because I have 3 different fractions. This is something we haven't, I don't think we've seen this yet, but maybe to try and find that common denominator, I think we should simplify here first, just to see what we're really working with. You notice some of the numbers here should simplify to make this easier. So 6 over 4, I'm getting 3 over 2. The x is actually cancel out as well. You guys see that? And then 18 over 2x. So the 2 goes into 18, becomes 9. X squared has to stay though. Here the x's cancel out as well, and it's 3 over 8. There's nothing I could do to him. So let's rewrite what we got. I have 2 times 3 over 2 plus 9 over x squared plus 3 over 8. Right, and then from here because you're multiplying 2 into each thing, right? It's like distribution into each term. You can see that when I multiply 2 with this guy, right, 2 times 3 over 2, the 2's are going to cancel. So I get left with just 3. When I multiply with the second term, I'm going to get 18 over x squared. Then when I multiply with the third term, I have 2 times 3, or 6 over 8, and I can simplify that, and it becomes, I won't draw any red marks, so 2 times 3 becomes 6 over 8, which becomes 3 over 4. Now I have this expression here, and then this is the one where we're going to have to merge to get the like denominator, sorry, for all three. So this 3, you could really write him as 3 over 1, right? And then from here, this guy has an x squared, this guy has a 4, so I have to work with these two terms as my denominator. So I'm going to multiply this first one by 4x squared, top and bottom. I'm going to multiply this guy, top and bottom, by 4, because that gives me 4x squared in the denominator. And I'm going to multiply this guy, top and bottom, by x squared, because that's going to give me 4x squared in the denominator. So 4x squared is a common denominator. So for the first one, well, everything is going to be over 4x squared now. I know that for sure. This first one is 12x squared, right? 3 times 4x squared. This one becomes plus 4 times 18. You're going to get 72. And then this guy becomes 3x squared. So I do have like terms there. It becomes 15x squared plus 72 over 4x squared. And then I can factor out in the numerator there, I can factor out a 3. And I believe that's it. Yeah, I can't factor out an x or anything else. So I get 3, 5x squared plus 24 over 4x squared. I think that's it. This is the expression for the surface area, for the surface area of this rectangular prism. So that's a tough one. Okay, expect one of those at the very least on your test. So anyway, this wraps up concept 60.